All right, everybody, ding, ding. This is Nocturnal. We're back at it. And this is the season one finale. And we're trying to go out with a bang and, give everybody what they want. And as promised, we're going to be talking about oral sex tonight. We have the intrepid Mickey Royale here with me. We're waiting on Cheyenne Fox. She's going to be fashionably late as usual. But, as always, without further ado, let's get this thing started. Yeah. All right. So y'all know what it is. We about to dive in, balls deep up in this. So if you're out there, if you're paying attention, grab your notepad, grab a pen, be ready to take some notes. If you want to practice on your partner at home, feel free to do so. But this show tonight, not only is it the season finale, but it is promised to be a very um, instructional show. We want people to learn. We want people to build their oral sex acumen, and your partners will be better for it. We this is something we promise. So, Mickey Royale, he is a veteran in the industry. This is not a taboo subject for him. This is nothing novel or foreign, and he has promised that he will give his insights and his expert level tutelage on the best way for oral sex, as far as a man and how to please a woman and paralyze her with pleasure. So, without further ado, Mickey, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Well, how do you want to start? You want to give a question?
Oh,
No, man.
we can start any way you want. You got, for the people out there that are going to be watching this, of course, okay, I'll start myself, as a man. The older I get, the more and more I see the utility of oral sex. Not that I never saw it, but the older I get, I realize, like, look, you can you can really take a woman there to nirvana just simply through oral sex, and the dick can be a bonus. You can just, if you know what you're doing down there, and your mouth and your fingers are working and doing everything in unison, you can make her reach that climax over and over again, and you ain't even pulled out your dick. And so I know I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to say, I don't want to go so far as to say I have an oral fixation, but I do enjoy, giving probably more than I enjoy receiving. I don't know, how that flipped or how that changed, but I am at a point where I realize that if the woman is clean, if she, smells nice, up top as well as down there, I'm definitely going to enjoy doing what I do. So, from your background, from what you've seen and what you've seen that has worked, with women, what are some things that you feel like men should pay special attention to, or some actions or behaviors that shouldn't be left out when trying to please your woman orally?
Well, you got to notice your woman. You got to study her because each woman is different, like a fingerprint. So one of the fastest ways and surefire ways to it is watch the way she masturbates.
Mm.
Watch whether or not she enters herself. Watch whether or not she hits the clear from the front. Does she hit it from under the bottom? Does she go around the top? Does she go in circles? How much pressure she applies? How steady the pressure is? Does she stay in one spot with that vibrator applying pressure for like 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time? Is she constantly moving it? Your tongue should mimic how she is with her fingers and vibrator, because that's what you're doing. You're assisting her solo pleasure. You know what I mean? If you get pleasure from doing it, that's fine. But one thing I wouldn't say against, but when I'm giving oral sex to a woman, I don't enter her afterwards. I don't enter her before it. That's a total act, usually in and of itself. Because if you're, it's like you can't process. Well, see, when I do it, I black out and I use my subconscious, and I'm just rolling with the rhythm of her body. I'm rolling with her responses. I'm rolling with how her hips are moving. I'm rolling with how her body is shaking and her stomach is shaking when it gets that hard, rounded feeling, and then it collapses and it shakes. So if I'm thinking about going inside of her, I'm not paying attention to any of that. Basically, all I'm doing is wetting it up and waiting my turn. But if this is really for her, it would almost to me seem like it's her birthday, but I'm gonna buy her a basketball for her birthday, even though she doesn't play and I do. But that's for her birthday. No, it's really for me. So if it's gonna be giving, it has to be giving. So that's why I don't confuse my brain like, okay, I gave it to her. She's had a couple of orgasms. Now I'm about to stick. No, that's not why I'm here. That's why I call it an oral massage. See, when you get a massage at a massage parlor, it's never the masseuse's turn. You get a massage and they let you go. It's never that other person's turn. That's why I call it an oral massage or a clitoral massage, to be more specific. Now,
That's a
you
good
can
point.
change it up and do it in the middle, before, after, but she will not reach that same nirvana because now she's thinking about what you're going to do next. See, you don't want her to think. You don't want her to process. You want her to go to her subconscious and you be in your subconscious. You be down there for days and you won't even realize it. You know, you won't get tired. You won't watch the clock. But if your pleasure is coming next, or if your pleasure came before, that puts a time limit on it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys, let's say if the woman went first, she gave you oral sex, you ejaculate, and now you're doing her. Well, you really just want to relax. So now you're rushing through hers. You're not taking your time. You're not paying attention to her movements, her sounds, the way her body twitches, the way the nerves react. Because you can have, that's why I don't use, my technique is, you ever hear a boxer say, like Holyfield used to say this, he said, I train and I know what I'm going to do in the ring. And he said, but when the bell goes ding and the guy throws the first punch, everything I thought I was going to do goes out the window, because that guy is not going to do what my sparring partner did at the exact same time, at the exact same moment. So it's really spontaneous that you have to pay attention. So your sparring partner probably threw a lot of jabs, and that's what you trained for. And you said, I know how to neutralize a jab. Then you get in there with a guy that's throwing right hooks to the body and uppercut. Well, you didn't train for that, so you have to be able to adapt. So if your technique is circles, and you get in there with a woman and you start doing circles and she's backing up, now what do? Because you went in there with a preconceived game plan. You can't do that.
You know, it makes me think, you know, really quickly before I forget, because I don't want to lose this. It makes me think about that quote Mike Tyson said, you know, everybody has a plan until they get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, I agree. I agree with you with that, you know, being a martial artist and, you know, you're in, I like that analogy. I think that's a spot on analogy because you're right. You know, you really have to adapt to whomever you are in the ring with or who you're in the bed with. Because not one technique. Well, maybe that actually compels me to ask the next question. So do you think there are any techniques whatsoever, any methods or whatever that can be universal, or is it totally 100% exclusive to the woman, each woman you're with? Like there's no one thing, there's no one paradigm or method sexually that you know, okay, no matter the woman, you know, she's going to enjoy, you know, I guess intimacy first. She's going to enjoy some romance first. Don't just dive into it. You got to work your way into it. Are these things that you feel like can be universal across all women, or is it really a case of you have to study each and every woman you're with?
It's both. And what she's enjoying is being the center of attention. Because at this particular moment, at this particular time, her pleasure is all that's on your mind. Not exchange. You don't have a turn. It's just her. It's her birthday. It's her massage. That's why you ever notice when a person gets a massage, one thing the masseuse never has to say is relax. Because he doesn't get a turn. She doesn't. You don't have. A masseuse doesn't have to say relax, relax. Don't have to. Because when you lay down on that table, you know that you are the center focus in your mind, and you are the center focus in their person's mind. So the both of you are in sync because the center of attention is you. So that's why you don't have to tell her to relax unless you're one of those that, okay, now it's my turn. So when I say techniques, you know that karate is all the same. It's 12 basic movements, 4 blocks, 4 kicks, 4 punches. You learn that the first day. After that, you just learn combinations. Boxing only has 4 punches. Straight, it has a hook, it has an uppercut, and it has a jab. That's it. You learn that the first day. You start boxing at 7, you've learned all of the movements the first day. Now, what you end up doing is you work on your jab over the course of decades. You work on your hooks over the course of decades. You work on your footwork so you know when to do the jab, when to do the hook, when to do the uppercut, and you're paying attention to where his hands are. See, all of that, it takes time to develop. But the actual technique, you learn that the first day. So what you do is you learn how to do the circles, you learn the top, the front, this, that, and the other. Anyone can do that. And you strengthen your tongue, you're breathing out of your nose, and you just let it go. But you knew all of that in high school.
Right.
What you learn is over time is paying attention. So like I said, you learn all those punches the first day in boxing, but if I put you in the ring with a heavyweight champion, you're going to get knocked out because you have not strengthened those things. Even though you're doing the same things he's doing. You're throwing jabs, he's throwing jabs. You're throwing hooks, he's throwing hooks. It's only 4 punches. That's all it is. It's only 4 punches. But, you have variations and variables. You got the bolo, you got the overhand right, but they're not really, that's something you add in later.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't use my thumbs. If I'm in a car and we're driving, I need somewhere to place my hand. Yeah, I'll use my thumb. But again, when I'm using my finger, I'm mimicking what I saw her do with the vibrator. So I'm just replacing my tongue with my finger in order to get the same result. So if I'm using my tongue in circles and I know that drives her crazy, why would I be in the car going up and down?
So you know what, really quickly, since you brought this up, because we haven't talked a lot about this in the Ringside group. Shout out to everybody in the Facebook group, Ringside. If you're out there, if you're on Facebook, make sure you go and you search Ringside LLC, request to join our private community and get down on these debates and dialogues on a regular basis. But Mickey, really quickly, you are going to have those men out there that feel like the more and more vibrators and bullets and jackrabbits are being marketed to women, some men inadequacy are starting to feel like they're obsolete. And some women may feel like, well, if I have a vibrator, if I got a mechanical toy, why do I need a man? What are some things you feel, from your background, you feel like, look, yes, you have a battery operated boyfriend, you got a battery operated gigolo, whatever. But as a man, as a human, there are things that I can do that dildo or that vibrator, that jackrabbit or whatever can't do. There are ways I can stimulate you that, the vibrator can do. So for the men out there that feel like we're slowly but surely becoming obsolete, what could you do or what could you say to kind of, restore that hope? Like, no, you still in the game. A vibrator will never outbeat a man. Well,
Men are not inadequate. That is a stereotype. That's not stereotype. That's a myth. That's the word I'm looking for. Men are not inadequate. Men can never be obsolete. What men are is selfish. That's what they are. A man can go a lot longer than a battery. Battery has a shelf life. I can go until I die. So I can outlive a battery. Men have been known to live 100 years. Batteries don't go that long. Batteries, I don't think, go 10 years or 5. So they don't even go 1. So no, he can never be obsolete. He's just selfish. Now, as far as the vibrator is concerned, the vibrator can't compare to a man. And I'll tell you why. If you ever play chess against yourself, it's going to be a stalemate. If you ever try to play tic-tac-toe against yourself, play 5 games of tic-tac-toe against yourself, it's going to be a cat's game because you know both sides and how they're going to move. It's the same with masturbation. She knows exactly already where she's going to move this thing. One thing that the vibrator can't do that the man can do is think. So when she's with the vibrator, there's no excitement of anticipation. There's no, because she knows exactly what it's going to do. It's a cat game. I already know I'm going to put an X right here. And while I'm putting the X, I already know in my head where I'm putting the O. It's going to be a cat game each time, unless I purposely do it X, Y, and Z. But she knows there's no surprises. There's no spontaneity with a vibrator. She knows exactly how many minutes she's going to do this and when she's going to turn. And in fact, a vibrator will get monotonous long before a man does, because you don't know what I'm going to do. You don't know when I'm going to suck. You don't know when I'm going to start using my neck and putting my locking your legs right here, and then totally let your legs drop and just use my tongue and keep my neck still. You don't know if I'm going to start turning my head. You don't know if I'm going to go in circles. You don't know if I'm going to apply this amount of pressure or very little pressure. You don't know if I'm going to flutter. You don't know if I'm going to sensuously circle. You don't know if I'm going to put the tongue on top of the clitoris, push down, pull. You don't know what I'm going to do. So it's that anticipation of what is he going to do next, if anything. And that's something a vibrator can't replace. That's why women who have vibrators, they get sexually satisfied, but they're not sexually satisfied. They're usually more sexually frustrated, even though they've had 3 orgasms.
So, we're talking about oral sex. Obviously, you're the chief of oral surgery right now. So we're taking notes. I mean, even we've been on this for almost 17 minutes, and I'm learning some things I didn't know about that I hope to one day apply. Real soon. So you're doing all these things with your mouth. What are your hands supposed to be doing? Are they, just behind your back? Are they holding the thighs up? Are they, nipple stimulation? Like, what are some good things that while your mouth is down there working and doing its thing, what can you be doing with your hands to, help increase the pleasure for her?
I use my hands as aids, helpers. Now, if I'm giving her oral sex and she's moving a little bit, what she's doing is trying to find position to where she can lock in and enjoy it. So if I see her moving too much position, I might steady her with my hands. If my hands are on her, then they can be moving. But at the same time, if my tongue is at a steady technique and my hands are moving, now my tongue is moving. It's not moving around. It's on one spot. It's focused. She's almost there. The hands are going to cause her mind to go from subconscious to conscious, because now she's like, where's his hands going? What is he going to do? So that's time. You ever be with a woman orally and she says, don't stop, don't move, right there? That's because and a lot of times what they end up doing is too much and she loses her orgasm. Guys can do it too. She'll be like right there, right? Because a woman is a buildup. She's building up. One nipple twist, it can go back down. Just like how you see that blood pressure machine when it goes up and then it drops back down. It can do that. And she's like, you ever hear a woman go, I lost it? She didn't lose it. You lost it. Because what you did was you switched her focus. She was subconsciously focused and it was happening. You ever have a woman you're giving oral sex to and they're nowhere near orgasm, and all of a sudden, oh my God. That's because she's not processing. It's in her subconscious. So she's letting go and it comes out of nowhere. And it happens to men too. Sometimes we premature ejaculate. You'll be nowhere near orgasm. You'll be like, I'm about to be here an hour. She'll do one thing. She'll moan a certain way. She'll touch you a certain way. You go, God dang it.
Yep. I hate that. That's a fucked up feeling. It's like just one little thing, you hear her moan a certain way, say your name, touch you someplace, and just everywhere, paint the walls.
Now, if you're giving a woman oral sex and she grabs the back of your head,
love it.
If she's grabbing the back of your head and squeezing, that's one feeling. Now, if she's grabbing the back of your head and pulling, she's asking you to apply more pressure. If you apply more pressure with your tongue, she's going to release your head. She's just steering the car. If I'm steering my car to the right and the car goes to the right on its own with the steering wheel, I let my hands go. You don't keep steering like that because you'll go in a circle. Once you make the turn and you go into you only steer the steering wheel far enough to make the turn. Once you make the turn, you let it back go straight. So when she's like jockeying for position, sometimes like that, you have to really read her body because she can also be bored. If you ever been giving a woman oral sex and she's trying to push her face into it, what she's doing is changing the rhythm. That would be the equivalent of saying how you're behind in traffic. You ever been behind slow cars in traffic and you just start moving your body as if that's going to make traffic go faster? It's not.
That's just me being pissed off and frustrated.
Yeah, she's getting road rage is what she's doing. She's getting bed rage. So at that point, she's telling you what she is she's a jockey. Her arms, you have to look at as those leather straps that the horse wears. It's telling the horse when to go right, when to go left, when to go faster, when to pull back. That's what she's doing. That's what her hands are. That's what her body motions are. And you have to be able to feel that. And you'll be able to feel her energy. At the same time, you're listening to her sounds. You can tell when it goes high pitch. You can tell when it gets that deep bass sound. When she's then don't move from that spot. Concentrate on that spot when you get that deep bass feel and just keep digging right there. That means you struck gold, but it's Eureka further under. So what she's telling you is you hit the right spot, dig deeper.
You know,
dig more intense.
What you said earlier, I just discovered that about myself these last couple of years. A woman putting her hand on my head. For me, that's when I start feeling more pleasure because I feel like, okay, she's taking control. She's, to me, I automatically assume, okay, it's affecting her some kind of way. And I get off on that. I like seriously get off on, a woman grabbing my head, grabbing my ears, or even taking one hand and putting on the back of my head and pulling me closer to it. Turns me the fuck on. So for the women, I'm not sure how long it's been since you had this experience with a woman who may feel apprehensive or nervous, or, maybe she's not relaxed. She wants to do it, but having trouble relaxing. Maybe it's your first time, y'all first time together, and that anxiety. How do you comfort a woman? How do you make a woman feel relaxed, to just let go as opposed to being all in her head about, whatever anxiety or nervous energy she may have?
I fish around for her comfort zone. If you're going straight to it and she's wait. Sometimes she's checking herself because she's thinking, I haven't showered since I left the gym. So I had a woman like that. She didn't smell, but I noticed that she didn't shower first. So what I did was I started giving her oral sex under her arm. Now she had deodorant under there, and you know how powder deodorant tastes in your mouth.
Yes, it's not, yeah.
But what I started doing was making sounds to let her mind know that if he can do this won't bother him. So I gave her permission to relax. So I'm thinking to myself, she's subconscious about something. Maybe she doesn't feel
about something. Maybe not. I've had that experience where some women don't want you to go down because they feel like, they just got off their period, maybe the day before, or they may not be as fresh, or like you said, maybe they just got through working out and they're like, hold up, don't go down there. Or, I always take it as thank you for warning me. But you are going to have those women, if they're not comfortable with whatever's going on down there, and they certainly don't want you down there because they don't want you to, they don't want to give you a bad experience. They don't want you to look at them in a way. They don't want to feel self-conscious because they feel like they're paranoid because of an odor, or even maybe not even an odor. For some women, it's how it looks, whether or not it's shaven or if it's shaved the right way, whether there's hair bumps down there. One time, I was with a young lady. She was self-conscious because she had gray hairs. She had 1 or 2 gray hairs down there. And so, it's like I realized that, the best way for a woman to achieve nirvana when you go down, she has to be relaxed. She's got to get to the point where she's too much of in her head and she's like, she can't really focus on what's actually going on because she's trapped inside her mind. So it's like, how do we help unlock that gate inside her mind and free her so she can
when women feel like, keep in mind, I've already said it's not about us. I said the massage thing. Think about a massage parlor. Think about a masseuse. They'll always ask you, is the music too loud? Would you like me to change the channel? Which aroma would you like? So if I'm with a woman, let's say she's heavy set, and a lot of heavy set women, they don't get totally undressed. They'll just unloose that one body part, and I see her pulling her clothes down. I don't comment on what makes her feel inadequate. I take the blame and go, you know what? Let's cut the lights off. Why? I just like it in the dark. Do I like it in the dark? No, I like it, period. But I'm saying it so that she's more relaxed. Because if she's not relaxed, I'm not going to be able to give her what she wants. So I would say something like, let me cut the lights off. And that right there, she's like, oh, good. Then you notice once it's totally dark, she can come out of her clothes. Or like if she doesn't feel fresh down there, what I do is go to a more non-fresh area and let her know how much I like that. So if it's like, I just got to running track and I'm sweating down there, not as much as your underarm or around your neck or the back of your neck or behind your ear. So let me hit those first and make sounds, even though it's totally salty. Not about me. I don't care. So once I can put my tongue under her arm, is that going to give her stimulation? No. What it is saying, if I stink 60% down here and he stuck his mouth on 90% over here, then I feel like I smell 20% here.
So if he's okay with these other areas, he ain't gonna mind so much.
If he's okay with, and whether I mind or not, she'll never know.
Right.
I never comment about it. And whether I like it or not, my response is, So she's like, oh gosh, I know I'm dirty under there. And he says, let me open my leg. Because I know it's not as bad under here as it is down there because I just came from the gym.
You know what? I got to admit, it hasn't happened to me that many times, but a little must ain't that bad. A little, a little bit doesn't turn me off. There are times where, some women, coming back from working out and they sweaty, that can look sexy. I know some women may be self-conscious about that and may not be interested or feel sexy, but seeing a woman's, sweaty body is not always a turn off. Not always a turn off whatsoever. It can be a turn on, to be perfectly honest.
Hold on for a second. Hello?
That's probably, if that's who.
Yeah. She says she can't get in.
Oh gosh. I sent her all right, tell her to relax. I'm gonna send her the link again, even though I
don't worry about it. He's gonna send you the link again.
Yeah.
Just relax and stop. Just relax. Okay. Would you like me to put you on speaker?
I'm texting her the link right now. Tell her to check her phone.
He said check your phone. He's texting you the link right now.
Yeah.
Okay. She said she's gonna try again. She's feeling really bad. I said, relax. You all right? You come in late. I'm gonna just shut up and let you take the rest.
Really quick. So
and that's an example. Wait, that's an example. She's really feeling horrible that she can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I browbeat her that she's late? I turn it around because it's always the glass is half full. So I said, no, we just changed the format. I took the first 30, you take the second 30, baby. We saved the
best
start of the show for the end. So now, would I want her at the beginning? Yes, I would. Would I tell her that? Why? Why would I say that?
So you're the opening act and she's the headliner.
That's the way I do it.
Really quickly, before she joins, I have to ask this question because it's burning in my head. Some women, more and more, a lot of women are slowly realizing the pleasure of, I don't know the other phrase for tossing salad or having their salad tossed. Now, does that number one, does that still qualify as oral sex? Number two, for the women out there who may be on the fence about it, because at the end of the day, it is a source of pleasure. It definitely, is something that it is erotic, and it's it's the bomb in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Number one, for you, do you still qualify that as oral sex? And number two, how would you help get a woman to feel less gross about the idea of a man doing that to her?
Now, when I toss a salad, I'm either going to toss the salad all night or I'm going to toss the salad at the end. I don't toss the salad and then go back to cunnilingus because it's a bacterial issue.
Mm-hmm.
One is the entrance, one is the exit, and things move one way. And you don't toss a salad with the same technique that you do cunnilingus because there's no clitoris where the anus is. There's a clitoris where cunnilingus is. So the technique is different. The stimulation, the clitoris, it feels different than the labia and all the other, the other parts. But when it comes to tossing the salad, see, that all feels the same. Let me demonstrate. We got to find my camera. Because see, all of those nerve endings are the same.
Mm-hmm.
There is no spot like I'm gonna hit here. It's the same as in here. It's the same as in here. The only difference in stimulation when you're tossing the salad is how further you get and how deeper you go. And it's measured this way, as opposed to a vagina. We already know the stimulation's at the top.
Right.
So you have a target and you focus on the clitoris. You're getting around here. You go, but you always go back to that. That's like a track. That's the lap. That's the tracking line. That's the star of the show. When you're tossing the salad, there is no star of the show. That's a group. That's like Wu-Tang. We all get paid the same. The clitoris, think of it as Michael Jackson and Jackson 5. Tito's not getting paid what Michael's getting. That's the star of the show at the clitoris. You don't have that when you toss the salad. So therefore, your tongue technique is going to be totally different. Or in singing, if you have like a Temptations, they harmonize a certain way, or a barbershop quartet, as opposed to when Prince sings, he's the only one singing. So he's not going to sing the same song the same way when this is a quartet or a trio or even a duo. That's a different type of harmony. So you're dealing with different nerve endings. So the salad tossing has to be at the end. Now, when you're tossing a girl salad, especially for the first time, might run into some subconscious type things, because of the location of where it is. Again, the noises can put her at ease. Don't shock her. Here's a good story. It's in my book, Pimpin' Ain't Easy. But
which everybody, if you look into the description, you'll see a link to the Amazon where they can purchase Pimpin' Ain't Easy as well as your other books. But keep going.
I did a scene with Janet Jackme, and it was all oral. I did her, then she did me, and I was tossing her salad, and I went really, really deep. And I thought it was a compliment actually, and I put that part in the book. And she started shaking her head like, oh, and she turned around and said, you nasty, like that. And I was thinking, you're calling me nasty. You got a lot of nerve. I was whacking off to you when I was like in 94, 95, because she's older than I am. I was like, she's calling me nasty, but I wanted to feed my ego. So when she said that, I heard exactly what she said, but I said, what? What did you say? I didn't hear you. And she spun all the way around in the scene, and she grabbed my face, and she pulls it to me like she's going to kiss me. She goes, you nasty. And then she turned around and got back into the position again. But, I was trying to show off, that was Janet Jackme. I had to bring my A game, but.
Wait a minute. You said how old is Janet Jackme? I thought.
Well, I can pull up her old file because I keep all my files, but I don't know. She was, she's about 6 years older than I am because she was in her 40s then. Early 40s. I was still in my 30s. Like 34 maybe.
For some reason, I'm thinking that she's not even 50 yet for whatever.
Oh no, she's over 50. Her and Heather Hunter are over 50, but not much.
I knew Heather Hunter was over 50, but
they're on the same age. They're both from Chicago. They're friends outside of the industry. They're friends.
I think she was at. Well, maybe it's on Wikipedia or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I have her ID still. I have to keep all of these files because you never know when it can come up. You have to keep them. So I can pull up her ID. I'm not gonna do it right now, but
I got them
on several hard drives. Fox has them too. because we have to keep them.
No, the reason I brought up, tossing salad, because I realized that tossing salad today is what oral sex was 30 years ago. One of those things where people did it, but they weren't excited to admit it. It was still taboo. It was one of those things. It was one of those sexual acts. You knew people were doing it behind closed doors, but to admit it, like growing up in the 90s, in the 90s, as men, it was an insult to accuse another man of eating pussy.
I remember that.
Yeah.
In school.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you could, when we were in school back then, those are fighting words to accuse a man like, nigga, I heard you eat pussy. Now it's like, who ain't eating pussy? You like, what kind of man are you if you not doing it? So I'm looking at
it to talk about now, but I remember I was telling them that in the 9th grade, and they were moving their seats away from me, as if some kind of disease is going to rub off on them. They were talking about sex, and I was like, yeah, but you got to lick it first. They were like, lick what? And when I went into detail, I remember my buddy Kelly, he literally picked up his desk and scooted over like 6 inches, like that meant something. Like, I don't want to sit next to you. You only move like a half a foot. What are you talking about? But he had to indicate that I'm not with that. And they all looked at me kind of funny after, because we were only like 14 maybe. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal, because I learned sex early. And one of our uncles lived with us, and he had 2 porn tapes. So, he didn't get home till 5. I got home at 3. So I indulged myself. So I would always go through his drawer, watch the tape, his car pull up. I would rewind it back to where I got it from, because I watched the tape counter and stick it back in his drawer and just hop like, hey, man, how you doing, man? No, I used to watch that every day.
No, I think we all have those stories. I certainly have my Cinemax stories of creeping downstairs and watching Cinemax with the volume down real low. So, don't wake the parents. But yeah, that was definitely, early mid 90s. But the reason I bring that up, because I do feel like, my heart of hearts, that's just my opinion. I do feel like tossing salad today is what oral sex was 30 plus years ago, because people are doing it behind closed doors, men and women. People are enjoying giving it and receiving it, but to talk about it, because even in ringside, or even you can do it on social media, whatever, just talking about enjoying tossing salad or enjoying having a salad toss, you get stigmatized. You get people probably doing the adult version of picking up their desk and moving it a foot away. And it gets to a point where when will that, when you recognize, okay, this is another level of pleasure, is another way to please the one you're with, how do we destigmatize that? Or can we just destigmatize that the same way oral sex was destigmatized? Here's Cheyenne.